Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Heaven on Earth. I'm Michael, the Leo Mystic, and this is where I bring you the sacred mission for this week, the astrological forecast for the 13th until the 19th of July. And this is about to be an intense week. But before I get into there, I would really appreciate if you subscribed and supported this by sharing this message to someone that needs to see this, because it is important information. We're looking at the soul of the planet here, and everybody needs to hear about it, especially this week. We have the sun in Cancer, very emotional me, all right? My self-reliance, my emotional security, what I need to support myself, nourish myself, feed myself emotionally. But also, we got Mercury there, so mentally, okay, opposing Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn, and Capricorn. What the fuck? Okay, this is really, Pluto and Jupiter in Capricorn, this institutions that are dying, okay? And, whatever, this is like the 3D time and space that is falling apart. And what do you do? As someone in power, talking about leaders in business, but also even like the government and institutions and the church, what do? When you feel and see, shit, the power and the money that I had, it's falling apart, it's crumbling down. What do? You fight, or you run, or you try to, in a Capricornian way, dominate, impose more rules, ludicrous rules, and that's what we're seeing. But what we have to understand here is that we are being taught by the universe, the lessons, because it's all a reflection. We can point a finger towards the government and the leaders, but it is really a reflection of what's deep in our psyche. And it is in yours as much as it is in me, as it is in everyone. And so, the people in power right now are just showing what is going on in the collective psyche. And it's it makes us shiver. It is very scary to look at that. And we can freaking feel that. So now, Sun in Cancer opposing Jupiter and Pluto, before we can get to Jupiter in Capricorn, get to a new integrity, and get to a new truth about what leadership and authority is, we have to Sun in Cancer. We have to learn to trust ourselves. We have to learn, to always be thrown on ourselves emotionally and to make us feel safe, But what's even more is that Chiron in Aries, which is squaring all of that energy, by the way, especially Mercury in Cancer. So it is kind of hitting us mentally in the guts too. So this is like, well, what is a thing that you've always said that you've wanted to do in order to grow beyond this, in order to trust yourself? There's an action that you have to take to self-initiate, to be the warrior. But it's hard because Mars is on Chiron this week, and on Aries, and on Black Moon Lilith. So there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of frustration, suppression that we have to deal with, especially because even though it's not exact, it's still in that orb where Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter are squaring that Mars, Aries energy. So there's a stop from a higher power. We can't really get to it. Whether that is, it's on different levels. It's from God all the way to little me inside your head. And authorities, physically, police or whatever, or government or rules, or not enough money, or it's just like there's breaks. There's like you're being stopped in a sense, but it's only so that you are thrown on yourself emotionally, And it's continuing the action. It's continuing in the midst of fear and anger and frustration. And all that self-talk, by the way, Mercury squared Mars in Aries, of the past, of parents, of, the things that you have gone through as a child. And now have to reface, and that comes to the surface. It's so healing. It's all there. And you can work with it. And it has one purpose, to trust yourself. And so this is where we're being taught that there is no government that we have to trust upon but ourselves, that we have to take. This is, for me, the initiation into the, age of Aquarius, where, we ourselves, one individual, is going to play a much as important role as another individual in the collective, in the growth of this earth, in the growth of us human beings. And that requires, obviously, and it's not that it is like, the universe is doing it to us. No, it's just like that's the energy that brings up the past and that brings up our karmic shit. It's like we've done this to ourselves, and now we just, this is the phase that we have to go through, and we have to just sit in our own creation and heal it. And that's the psychological energy that is just present this week. For that matter, this whole year and the next couple of years, and where we're going to have to do a lot of healing. We're healing ourselves. And there's that divine intervention this week, which started today, actually, whilst we're recording this on Sunday. Neptune exact trine over to Sun in Cancer, and a sextile to that Pluto-Jupiter conjunction. So there is a divine intervention. There is a healing. There is a compassionate nature that is able to heal us, to really get into the observing role of your emotions. This is why that Kundalini yoga is so important. This is why the meditation practice is so important. It's that inner voice that just, attacks you. And if for anything at all, it is really that voice this week that is going to cause a lot of frustration and anger. And to stay calm in the midst of, the storm. I wouldn't call it a storm. I would really use an analogy I've used 2 weeks ago, where we're just, we don't know how to swim, but we're being pushed into the ocean, and it's like the more you panic, the more, opportunity, or the more opportunity, I wouldn't call it opportunity, but the more chances of you drowning. And, if you can just stay calm and really breathe and just like, and for a second, just, stay cool, stay calm, you might actually discover you know how to swim, because the universe would never push us into the ocean if it would know that we couldn't swim. You know what I'm saying? And it's, it's just like what I'm just saying is, we as human beings have that natal, or that, born capacity to swim. It is in us. The wisdom is in us, meaning the wisdom is always in us. Okay? So that's pretty much, I would say, the most important thing for this whole week, especially, we got the moon joining in on Uranus, which is, by the way, squaring the nodes. And this isn't interesting. This is an explosive, unexpected moment. And, Uranus and Taurus is kind of like that undertone of there's something going on. There's an explosion coming. There's an earthquake coming. But with that moon joining in there, squaring the nodes, it needs to happen. It's going to have to explode. We're going to have to feel it physically, mentally. And this has to do with you doing the thing, right? Because, Taurus, well, that makes Venus involved, which is in Gemini. And Venus in Gemini is making a beautiful aspect over to Mars in Aries, which is squaring Mercury, which is important because of Venus in Gemini. Without going too technical, this means that which we have always said that we, wanted to do, we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to, walk the talk, practice what we preach. Yeah, to really nurture ourselves so that we can get towards a new integrity, new values, new authority, new leadership. We just have to face that wound. We just have to face the masculine crippledness. If you know, it's like the force versus power kind of a thing. We have to learn to act from power, which is, it's just, power is just trusting and knowing, having faith, and, just, letting the energy of the divine flow through you and see, oh my God, source is the ultimate resource and not the external fuel, is there to serve me. No, it's like all these, the food is here, the water is here, the air is here to feed me, yes, but so that I can feed my environment. Hello. But before we can do and feed our environment, again, we have to learn to feed ourselves. But when we then do that, we fully have to trust and know that this is here to serve the bigger purpose, right? So, and then, that Uranus square the nose, honestly, is truly, there's an explosion that needs to happen. There's an unexpected event, money taken away, values taken away from us to learn a lesson. And it's going to be not as pleasant as we would want. So it doesn't necessarily have to be so dramatic, even though it is in the atmosphere. I think we don't have to look that far. It has to do with Mars in Aries and Chiron in Aries and, the Gemini energy, which is it's just verbal aggression. It is maybe even physical aggression. So whatever needs to happen for you to wake up to new values, that's pretty much what it is. And if you have those values, it kind of is gonna not be so hard. But I think people who really are dormant and do not, embrace the new earth, they're being shaken up to the new earth. And I think to some extent everyone needs to have this, as much awake as you are, as much conscious as you're living. But then Wednesday, there is that opportunity to really take some, I think from Wednesday on, honestly, there's a lot of emotional cleansing that we can do, especially up until the dark moon in Cancer, and there's going to be a second new moon in Cancer. And a second new moon in Cancer is just a clear message for me that this is even more. And it's on Mercury in Cancer, by the way, which is, it's really about what do I need to nurture myself? What do we need as a planet to nurture ourselves, to nurture us, to nurture each other, to feed, to come home, to trust ourselves, to build a new self-image, to fully embrace our emotions. And this is emotional detox. This is why the anger has to come out. This is why the rage and the frustration have to come out, to really cleanse the old, to cleanse the past. And so emotional detox, whatever, a cleanse, infrared sauna, really sweating it out needs to happen this week, big time. All right. So that's it for this week. Much love. See you next week. Bye-bye.